we
Red.
go. Hello, I'm super red too. My face is always red. I'm always sunburned during the summer. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fascinating. We're talking to Red Royals today, which this has been
Hello.
a long time coming.
9 months, I think. 9 months.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, I should probably mention that, and then I just forgot.
I swear there is something like I think neurologically wrong with me because I like okay, so a good example was I had a podcast 2 weeks ago that somebody invited me to be on, and I was like, yes, sure, I will be on it. Like, cool. It's this day, and I'm like, all right, remind me the day before, otherwise I'll forget. And they did, and I was like, cool. And I like wrote notes for myself everywhere. Totally forgot.
Oh dear, I'm not that bad.
I'm so bad. It's the worst.
I have to put everything in my phone. I put everything as a reminder in my phone, so literally it comes up, and I'm just like, oh yeah. So a couple of months ago, I forgot I had a blood test until that came up like an hour before, and I was just like, ugh. So I said to my manager, I was like, I have to go. I have a blood test. He was like, when was that booked? I was like, 6 months ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, well, aren't you silly? He was just like, go. Just like, oh, sorry, bye.
Yeah.
It meant I got to leave work an hour early.
That's not bad.
You know.
Monday, a friend of mine really wanted to get a ride to the airport because he flies all over the place for his job. And he had asked me 3 hours before he needed a ride if I would drive him. And I was like, yeah, of course, absolutely. No, I'll be totally ready. And then 20 minutes before I'm supposed to pick him up, he's like, so you'll be here like in like 5-10 minutes or something. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm already on my way, and I'm throwing on my clothes and
shit.
so
I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and they asked me a question about something I'd said, and I was like, what? This is like half an hour later. I was like, what? He was like, do you not remember? I was like, nope.
No.
No.
I mean, our brains like have a built-in mechanism for how we prioritize things and how much we pay attention to things. And like the more we're thinking about something else, the more likely we're going to like forget something. And certain everybody's brain works differently, and some people can prioritize schedules a lot more than others. So it kind of makes sense, but it's so fucking annoying. Ugh.
Yeah, it's like my older sister. You tell her something, you ask her to do something, and she will remember it. She's got like a calendar like in her head. I'm just like, I hate that you do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh yeah, you asked me to do this at this date and all of that, and da 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 da. And I'm just like, how do you remember this?
I get so jealous.
She's a teacher. Yeah, she's a teacher, so she's got a full-time job and she's got 3 kids, and I'm just like, I have a full-time job and 1 kid, and you know, it's like sometimes I'm just like, oh shit, yeah, I got to feed him.
Yep, I've been there too.
It's just like, yeah, and I'm just like, how do you do it? I don't understand.
I get jealous about that kind of stuff. I like if you were to ask me like Star Trek trivia, I'd be able to pop it off immediately. Like I know all this shit, and then like, hey, can you remember in a half an hour to do this thing? No.
No. It's like I'm the same with like Lord of the Rings stuff. You ask me kind of anything you want, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, this happened, that happened, and yeah, it was this person who said that, and all of that. It's like, do you remember you said you did this? No.
Nope. Even the Silmarillion.
I got partway through the Silmarillion, but then I lost the book.
Okay, well, I mean, that book
I just haven't got around to reading it again.
It's almost impossible to read. I found trying to read Crime and Punishment was actually easier for me than the Silmarillion. Honestly, it really was.
But I first read Lord of the Rings when I was 8. So
okay.
Yeah, but it's I've had to kind of rebuy those books several times because I read them all the time. But yeah, the Silmarillion I started to read, and then Bleak House, and I lost it. Oh, bless you.
Oh wow. Excuse me. Jesus Christ.
That piece of paper or an actual paper towel?
It's a napkin. It's a napkin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say we moved house, and I haven't seen the book since. It's probably at my mum's house somewhere.
Oh yeah, I
have no idea.
I had that problem with certain comic books that I really liked. I'd buy like the big graphic novels. I think I've purchased the entire run of Neil Gaiman's Sandman, I think like 4 or 5 times now, because I'll either lose them or I'll be so hard up for money I sell them. It's the worst.
Yeah.
I've made some people very happy by getting the whole collection for super cheap. So at least there's that, I guess.
It's a selfless deed. It's a selfless deed. You made somebody happy.
That's right. It wasn't motivated by needing to pay bills at all. Of course not.
Of course not. Of course not. I will say there is only one book that I have ever got rid of, and that was Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. I hated that book.
Really?
Absolutely hated that book. I had to do it for had to do it for A levels. I don't know what they'd be the equivalent of over there. It's like 16 to 18.
Okay.
Over here. And I didn't finish the book. I still got an A in my English lit the course for the entire kind of thing for the qualification, but I didn't finish the book. It's one of the only books I've read that I haven't finished. And that's by choice, just because I couldn't do it. I just
because it's so bad. Yeah,
but it's like Thomas Hardy will spend 6 pages describing something that everybody else would spend like half a page on. It was just so long-winded. And I was just like, I can't do this. I can't do this.
I could do long-winded if it's at least interesting. Like Stephen King. I can read Stephen King even though he's extremely long-winded because he's at least very expressive.
It's very, Yeah, it's descriptive. It pulls you in. No, this would be descriptive as in, fields and the sky.
Like just like okay, all right.
Yeah, that kind of descriptive. But no, Stephen King I love. What's the one I'm reading at the moment? I'm trying to think of which one I'm reading at the moment. Because I've got The Stand, I've got Salem's Lot, which I haven't read. Pet Sematary.
Oh
God.
I'm
currently reading.
Oh, that's a great one. Did you ever see the made-for-TV movie, the miniseries for The Stand?
No. No, I have this thing where if it's a book, I have to read the book first and then watch either the movie or TV series or something like that. It's something I've always had. So once I read The Stand, then I'll watch that.
You should, yeah. Well, the book's great, and the TV miniseries, it's like 8 hours long.
Yeah.
So but the book is something like 1,000 pages or something. So it still doesn't get hardly any of the
big fucking book.
Yeah,
it's a big book. I'm looking
book.
at it now. It's big.
And it's almost intimidating how big that damn thing is. But
I've read War and Peace. It's fine.
Right. Yep. There you go.
You've read Crime and Punishment, so.
Well, I didn't finish Crime and Punishment. I got about 3/4 of the way through.
Okay, fair enough.
Brilliant book. Very dry.
Yeah.
Very dry. I just ran out of time. So the miniseries is great though, especially if you ever get the flu, because it's all about a super flu. Like that's the basis for the story. So I would just make my chicken noodle soup, and have my 7-Up, and I just watch The Stand for 8 hours suffering. Do I have the super flu? Am I gonna die? Oh, it's great.
I think I'd probably do that. I think I probably would freak myself out and be like, no, I don't want to know what happens. I don't want to know what happens.
Oh man. Yeah, no, you gotta let me know. No. You gotta let me know when you do get that done. Because I got some great Mother Abigail jokes. Holy shit.
Although with the list of things that I currently have to read and watch, it'll be a while. It will be a while.
Well,
I've got loads of different things. It's like I'll see kind of things that I want to watch, and I'll click yep, and then I'll just never get around to watching them, and I'll just rewatch stuff that I've already watched. I'm like, okay,
right. I've been trying to get more serious in some of the things that I've been doing. So I've been wanting to research not just online, but also to read books. Like I'm reading this one about the father of the guy who runs Scientology, and there's like 2 other books that I'm get that are up on the lineup that I'm reading as well. And it sucks because I'm such a fiction junkie. I love stories, but I have to read
Yeah.
nonfiction.
You have to read actual proper books rather than stories.
And they're all terrible. like they're not bad books. They're good books. But like the subject matter is just terrible and it's such a downer, you know?
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
I need some happy or at least exciting adventure in my life, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't sit there and read and watch some of the stuff that you do. I really couldn't do it.
It wears on you after a while.
It would make me, yeah.
Yeah.
It would.
It sucks your soul after a while. It really does. So, all right. So you live in England. I imagine you were born there, right?
Yes, I was born in Oxford, the John Radcliffe in Oxford.
No, okay.
I think I grew up in Buckinghamshire, the home counties. That's why Pallet always calls me posh, because I'm from one of the because from the West Country, and I'm from they're called the home counties, like the Queen's counties and things like that. So that's why he's always calling me posh.
Gotcha. So so that's like a more of an upper class kind of neighborhood then. Yeah,
okay. Very kind of middle class, very middle class. It's like for my 8th birthday, my mum bought me a pony.
What? No shit.
Yeah. No shit.
Wow.
My mum bought me a pony for my 8th birthday. She's only a little kind of Welsh mountain, but mum, where's my present? And all that, and she was like, "It's outside." I thought, maybe she bought me a bike. Nope, standing there as a pony. I was just like, yay.
Jesus.
And she did the same. She bought me a horse.
Oh my god. That's like every American girl's dream is to get a pony for their birthday. You know, that's so wild.
Yeah. But we didn't have to pay any kind of like livery, kind of anything for her, because my mum owned barn, stable yard, fields. So anything like that you'd normally have to pay for, we didn't have to.
That's cool.
Because my mum already owned it.
God damn.
And it's like she now owns 70 acres worth of land down in the West Country. So she's got my horse and hers down there as well.
So you were raised up around horses and that kind of atmosphere.
Yeah. But I'd much rather be on a horse than on a bike.
When how old did you start riding?
First time I was on a pony, apparently I was like 18 months old.
Wow. Damn.
My grandfather, he was all about horses and ponies and that when I was little as well. So it's riding has always been a big thing kind of in my family.
That's cool. So, damn.
The only ones who don't ride are my younger brother and sister, because my sister was always more afraid to go faster than anything than a walk. So my mum was just like, I'm not even going to bother. My older brother just didn't. My younger brother didn't care. He was just like, it's not my thing. Not my thing.
See, I loved horses. The concept of horses. I rode horses like kind of young-ish, but I never had access to them very frequently. So at a certain point in time, my jealousy for people who had access to horses was so great. I convinced myself that I hated horses. I really did.
I love horses. I'd much rather spend my time with a horse.
I look at them; they're so dumb looking. They just look stupid. They're stupid looking animals, and they're dumb. And I don't want anything to do with them. But secretly, I was just seething with jealousy.
No, well, my little pony, she was very smart. She was very, very smart. She was a sneaky little cow as well.
How sneaky can you be when you're a giant fucking animal?
Well, she was only. Well, it's measured in hands, but she only came up to probably, now it'd be like my waist. So, she wasn't very big. But we used to kind of like in the summer, we used to let her into our back garden, because we had a small kind of acre field that she used to be in most of the time, at least that time of year. And when the grass got long, we just used to let her in the garden. Meant that I didn't have to mow it.
Yeah.
because it
Oh yeah.
wasn't just like flat. It wasn't flat. It was kind of all over the place. So trying to mow that thing was absolute nightmare. So we used to let her in the garden. Now, most of the time, she'd let her put herself back in the field when she's had enough. But times when she didn't want to go back in the field, she'd run around to the front of the garden because they were both kind of connected around the side of the house, and go underneath the apple and pear trees, because she could get under them and it would just brush the top of her back. But she knew that nobody could get in there after her.
She'd hide in
Just
there
like
and you
you,
couldn't get her out.
yeah, it's like, you little shit. So you just run in there with after her with an umbrella.
With
She
an
used to hate
umbrella.
umbrellas. With an umbrella, yeah. Yeah, she used to hate umbrellas. Anything else she was fine with. It's just an umbrella. You just kind of put that up. She's gone. She was gone.
That's a very strange thing to have a phobia of, is an umbrella. I don't know. Well,
I don't
whatever
know.
works.
She's a pony. Just like, I don't know.
I don't know. She's not a pony anymore, though. She grew up, though, right?
No, ponies and horses are different. They're both like part of the equine family, but they're different kind of subspecies of it. Once it gets to it's generally kind of, trying to think of how the distinction happens. I used to know all of this, but because I haven't been around them kind of constantly for such a long time, it's kind of been pushed out for different information. But there are slight differences. So it's like you may see a pony, but it's not going to kind of grow into a horse.
Gotcha. See, in
Yeah.
over here, maybe it's only like a certain part of the states, but at least growing up and from like the common parlance over here is a pony is just a very young horse. So it's just
No,
like
that, yeah. So you have the foal, which is the baby horse, and you have the yearlings. You get either a filly, which is a young mare, or a colt, which is a young, generally before they're gelded, they're a colt. So, and that's generally up until about 2, and then they're adults.
They're horse. So,
yeah, horse.
We just
pony,
butchered more of the Queen's English. There you have it.
Yeah, a little bit. That's right. Why break a habit of a lifetime?
That's right. That's absolutely. That's one thing us Americans are good at. We're really good at fucking up English. Yeah, no, that's wild.
One thing I do love is when you guys try and pronounce the English place names.
Oh yeah, I'm getting better about it though. Like I can pronounce Sheffield now, and fucking, oh god, I'd have to look at a map. I used to be really, really bad. Although some of those names are it's honestly not fair, and I kind of feel like maybe the English do it just to fuck with people. Like, why would you actually name a town that?
Like
you
Gloucester,
yeah, like Gloucester, like that. It doesn't spell like Gloucester. It's like,
yeah, it's not Gloucester, it's Gloucester.
Gloucester. See?
Yeah.
It's like the Glaukakesta or whatever. I don't even know. I'm like, it's so bad.
Oh, you mean High Wycombe?
High Wycombe is pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, French Creole was pretty bad for me too. It took a while for me to learn those. When I went to New Orleans, I was like, well, these are all French names. So I read one sign and I was like, yeah, we're on Decatur Street. Decatur. Thinking that's a very French way to pronounce it. It's like, no, it's Decatur. That sounds so boring. You fucking with me? And it was Chapatoulas, but it's spelled like Tachopolos. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, sometimes they can be confusing. It's like where I work, I deal with I work in utilities over here, like gas, electricity, and I work through dozens of different accounts today. And sometimes an address will come up, and I'll sit there and go, "What the fuck does that say?" And it's like, I'll say to my colleagues, I'll be like, "Can you pronounce that?" And they're like, "Nope." No.
Some of them are terrible.
There's some English names that we can't pronounce, so it's okay.
That's fair.
It's okay. Yeah.
That's. I think that kind of balances itself out. That's good. So you guys can admit that your names are crazy too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. At least they're not as bad as Welsh.
Yeah. Or like Scandinavian names are a lot of them are really bizarre.
I was going to say, Pallet's just put one in the chat. Can you say that one?
Loboro?
Loughborough.
Loughborough.
Yeah.
Loughborough. It's Lough, but there's no F in there.
I know.
There's a it's low, like dough. It's spelled like dough, but it's low. Boro.
Loughborough, yeah.
What the fuck?
You can tell the English people in the chat because they're just like, say this one, say that one, say this one.
There was Warshire. Warshire?
Yeah?
Like we're trying to figure it out on one of the patron hangouts. Like there's, I'll use like how I pronounced it when I was a kid. Worcestershire sauce. Like
oh.
Yeah. It fucked with me for the longest time. I'm just saying, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to say Worcestershire, whichever. It is hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
It is normally we just say Worcester.
Worcester,
yeah. It's like when you just say Worcester.
I don't even want to pronounce it, so just Worcester. Fuck it,
Yeah. And then you've got as Adams put in there, Leicestershire.
Leicestershire.
It's like Leicestershire.
Leicester.
Leicester.
Oh, fuck that. It's the worst.
It's so bad. We've got there's an American guy on the first floor of where I work, and people do it to him all the time because he's one of our customers. And he's just like, "Fuck off."
The one that still bothers me though is twat. I love. Everybody gets mad at me because they're like, it's not pronounced twat, it's twat.
Yeah, twat.
I like twat. I like twat.
No. Twat.
It's more like twat is just it's too sharp and it doesn't really have like the weight.
That's the whole point of it. It's just like you sit there and it's so, what are you doing, you fucking twat?
Yeah. Well, it sounds good when you say it, but when I say it, what are you doing, you fucking twat? That doesn't sound good.
No, I think it is the accent. No, it doesn't sound the same in an American accent.
Right.
It's like, is it one of my favourite insults is twerp?
Twerp, okay. Twerp is good.
Twerp or Burke.
What's a Burke? I've heard that before.
It's pretty much an idiot. They all kind of generally mean the same thing.
Okay.
It's like just different words. It's like twerp, Burke.
Is Muppet actually a common insult in England?
Yeah.
It is? Okay.
But it is for me anyway. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake, you Muppet.
Because I really like that one. I use that one pretty often.
Yeah.
It's hard not to want to call somebody a Muppet because it's just such a good, like, what? I'm a what? You're a fucking Muppet.
It's like, Muppet. But I guess it's like, if people don't really use it, then they wouldn't really see it as an insult. Whereas over here, it's known as an insult.
Right.
If it's not over there, then people would just think, why are you just calling me a giant puppet? I don't know. I don't get it.
I mean, I think it's a good insult should not only kind of have a negative connotation, but it should also kind of confuse, because it makes it a lot more memorable. You can call somebody an asshole all day. It doesn't mean anything. Nobody cares. Like, oh, you call me an asshole, you fuck you. But like, if you call somebody a Muppet and they're not expecting it, they're like, did you just call me a fucking Muppet? Really? Yeah, well, you're acting like a fucking Muppet.
And you're sitting there going, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I did. Yeah, I did. That's it. One of my favorites is twat waffle.
Twat waffle, yeah. I like twat waffle. That's a great one.
Most of mine get used at work because I do kind of have to watch what I say when I'm at home because little man's at the age where he will repeat everything.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, if he'll ask me what a word is, and I learned this from my sister, because it's like he's now got very good at reading.
Okay.
Which means that I have to be very careful where I wear my shitlord hoodie.
Oh yeah.
Or my cunt squad hoodie,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of my favourite hoodies.
That's a good hoodie.
And it's so comfy. It's so comfy. And people don't believe that I actually wear it outside. And I do. I'm just like, yeah, I'll walk down to the shop wearing it.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why not? But
I wear offensive clothing all the damn time in public.
That's right. I went into town the other day wearing the "Fuck Your Feelings" t-shirt. I didn't even realize. I didn't even realize because I just chucked it on, and I didn't even realize I hadn't changed my shirt. And I got some looks. I was like, "Whoops!" But nobody has actually ever said anything. It's like I wear the shitlord one now all the time, but nobody has ever actually said anything about it. I get some kind of looks, and they're just like, "Why the hell are you wearing that out in public?" I'm just like, "It's a good t-shirt." But he asked me what a shitlord was, and I was just like, "I'll let you know when you're taller than your dad." Yep. Or it's like if he asks kind of what, say it's like, you know, it's like, "Oh, what's fuck?" And I'm just like, "It's a word you can say when you're taller than your dad."
There you go.
His dad's 6'3".
Oh, oof. Okay.
Yeah, it's like my sister uses the same thing for my nephews, and I could get away with saying, you know, you can say it when you're taller than me because I'm 5'10".
Mm-hmm.
She, however, is 5'2".
Oof. Yeah. Yeah, that might make it tougher.
Yeah, so they're going to be tall. They're going to be tall. So she's like, you can say it when you're taller than your dad, and he's just over 6 foot as well.
It's a much safer bet for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it's a word that you can say when you're taller than your dad. Like, because I've always said that, he kind of accepts it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. repetition a lot of times is the key with child rearing for sure.
Yeah.
I had this I have this t-shirt, and it's I heart strippers. And it's not an offensive t-shirt, but I mean, like, you know, I wear it out in public pretty often, and people will give me weird looks like,
you just get the side look. It's like, why are you wearing that in public?
Right. But every now and then, I was out and about, and I was at like a convenience store, and I was picking up, I think, cigarettes at the time. It was a while ago, and there were these two young women who were behind me in line, and one of them was like, "Excuse me, can I see your shirt?" And so I turned around and like opened up my jacket, and they both started giggling, and they're like, "We love you too!" And I was like, "Oh, cool, right on, awesome."
Nice. I was gonna say, I was like, I wonder where this story's going, and I was just like, that's a good ending. I like that ending.
Yeah,
I like that ending. But no, it's like I've got the Cunt Squad tank top as well. Obviously, it's got the like the misogyny thing on the front, but it's got Cunt Squad going down the back.
Oh yeah.
And I've worn that out before, completely forgetting it says Cunt Squad on the back. And I went to meet a friend, and we went out to a restaurant, and I was wearing like this shirt as well, and this was it was like, I can't remember what it was, but it was really, really hot, so I took that off, and she was just like, put it on, because she could see, you know, sometimes restaurants have like the mirrors like behind.
Oh
yeah, no idea why, so she could see it in the back, because I put my hair up and that, and she was like, put your shirt on. I was like, why? Because it says cunt on your back. I was just like, fuck. I forgot.
Apologies.
I was just like, whoopsie. But I was really hot after that. I was just like, they're like, you can take your shirt off. I was like, no, I really, really can't. I really, really can't. You don't want me to do that.
It's gonna offend people.
It really will. It really will. And I mean, yeah.
I had the shitlord hat on, and I went up to visit the Drunken Peasants when all of them lived in Seattle. I went up there to be on the show, and also to have like a little business meeting with them. And they took me out to like this what is it called? It's a certain type of buffet. There's a certain, like, I'm trying to remember what the nationality is, but it's a certain type of buffet where you sit down, and like these people walk around with these giant plates of meat and offer you the meat.
I don't know.
Somebody in the chat's gonna have to remember what it is because that drives me crazy. But it's a really strange, like super
I'm the
upscale, nice
yeah.
nice restaurant, and they always say it with this annoying voice. Pardon me, sir. Would you care for some bacon wrapped filet mignon? Yeah, dude, just fucking just load me up.
Just
Um,
give me the tray.
Right. And I really would not afford to eat in this place, but that's where they wanted to eat lunch. But I had the shitlord hat on, and it was very common when these soft-spoken men would come over to offer me meat, and they'd look at my hat and they'd like recoil really quick, like,
It's like your hat's going to come out and bite them. Just because it says a naughty word on it, it's going to bite them.
That's right. Yep.
Yep.
Is it like Brazilian something? I don't know what it is. I'll look it up later. Whatever. Oh, it is Brazilian.
Hi, Sestra.
Yeah,
She's just putting red and loads of things in the chat. I'm just like, hi, Sestra.
She's such a sweetheart. Okay, so you got raised up with freaking ponies and horses and shit. I'm super jealous all over again. But did you end up going to college?
I went to uni. Yeah, I went to university up in Liverpool.
Okay.
Which was the opposite end of the country. So I went up to uni up north, and it's completely different. And every time I go home for like the holidays, and my mum would just be like, "What the hell do you sound like?" So I've picked up the accent,
right,
like the Scouser accent, and she's like, "What do you sound like?" I'm like, "I'm sorry."
It's so strange to me that England. I mean, like England's it's a big enough country, but like landmass wise, compared to like the States, it's so much smaller. But you guys have way more accents than we do. It's incredible to me.
Yeah, I think it's actually been recorded that for the landmass, England has the UK has the most accents in the world, or something like that.
That's just so bizarre.
I think for the landmass, it's like, yeah, you can go. It's like, Somerset, where my family live, is 3 hours away. It's completely different accent, and then you go even further west, and it's different again. So it's like, to us it's kind of a long way, I think, because it's relative to where you live, but it's like Pallet and I only live 3 hours away from each other also, because he's down in the West Country, so it's not that far respectively, but so
is it well, somebody's saying, Adam was saying, I think part of it is because Brits don't travel that much, but I don't think that's true. I think British people tend to travel around the country quite a bit.
Well, I grew up in Buckinghamshire. So I went up to university in Liverpool. I now live right down on the south coast. And it's like my mum and my family and that now live down in Somerset. I've got family all over the place, so I do go and see them. Right. But my older siblings, because they're only half siblings, they were born and raised up in Norfolk, which is up north.
Right.
Not north. There's a TH on the end there. Now I'm butchering English. North. And then kind of they moved down to Bucks, and I grew up with them. And now my sister lives in Devon. I've got a brother that lives in Manchester, and two of my other brothers live back in Norfolk again. So
it's wild.
People do tend to move around a lot. So
yeah. I just it just seems so strange to me, because I mean, if I want to take like a day trip with the family, 60 miles to the west is the ocean. 90 miles to the north is a huge city, and these are really easy day trips, and we do it all over the place, just go everywhere. But everybody sounds exactly the goddamn same. Exactly the same. the same, like, crazy neutral. I think the Northwest, and even some, at least not the surfer culture, but most of like California has pretty much the most neutral American accents,
It's only when you get like into the south and that you can really hear the difference or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like you would have thought that being so big it would have more.
Yeah, you think so. It's just, it's really strange. And it's strange to me for the UK because, you know, since communication is so easy and travel is so easy, you think that all of these things would start to kind of blend together, but now they get even more defined.
Yeah.
Weird. Well, then, okay, so here's a question that I've always been wondering about too is what would be considered like the neutral British accent, like the one that people in the movies or on TV speak?
Probably something close to my accent.
Yeah.
Because obviously you've got like the different kind of twangs and that of the different accents, and some of them come through and they're so strong that you can't understand what they're saying. It's like I'll have someone call up, you know, it's like I'm at work and I'll be speaking to a customer and they'll have a very thick like Geordie accent from kind of up north, and I'm just like, I have no idea what you're saying. I need I'm just like, I need subtitles with you, dude.
Yeah, that's how it is, like trying to talk to a Cajun in the States. Even people in the South with deep Southern accents can't understand Cajuns. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, that may have something to do with the fact that I've got bum ears anyway, but I'm just sat there, I'm just like, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's just like, I know it has something to do with your account, about your account with us. I just don't know what it is.
Well, you know, I think I have at least halfway joined you in having bum ears. This one is still completely screwed up.
Is it?
Oh yeah. If I pinch my nose and I blow, it sounds like all this fluid just like blows out the ear, but it's not actually.
That's not good.
No,
that's not good. No,
it's stuck in there probably forever.
Yeah, that's not good. Well, I've only got 5% hearing in my left ear, and I'm losing my hearing in my right. I've got about, they've said between 10 to 15 years before I do lose my hearing completely.
You learning the sign language?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course. Yes. Which has come in very handy when, you know, you get those people where it's very clear that you're in a hurry and you need to get somewhere quick, but they always stop you and try to talk to you. Like when you're kind of walking out, they always seem to just kind of zero in on you.
Oh yeah.
And they start talking to me, and I just think, and they're just like, okay, sorry, I didn't know, sorry, and then they kind of walk off as quickly as possible. you start signing at them, and they kind of freak out, and they're just like, can't do this, crazy hand movements, can't do it.
I tried to do that with Spanish actually at one point, where, you know, somebody would stop me and be like, "Oh, lo siento, no habla inglés." And even though I'm white, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. You know, you can be as pale as me and be Mexican. It's rare, but it does happen. But that doesn't really work because there's and it worked for a little while, but it doesn't really work in general because there's so many people in this country that speak Spanish now. They'd be like, "Oh, see," and they start like babbling at you in Spanish. You're like, shit.
Well, there's not that many people that do know sign language. They're actually trying to get it put into the national curriculum. So see children that do learn it, because I think it's something like 1 in every 1,000 children born will have some kind of hearing problem.
Sure.
They will be hard of hearing or completely deaf. And there's only something like, I think it's somewhere between 50 to 75,000 registered BSL users in the country.
Gotcha. I wonder how similar BSL and ASL
are. Not very. Really? Not very. It's like, I think yes, no, please, thank you, sorry. I know there's one or two more, but other than that, they're not very, very similar at all. It's like one big thing that could be very confusing is that in BSL, deaf, in ASL, hearing.
Okay.
In BSL, you've got hearing, and then ASL is deaf. So even that, it's, you know, it's just, and the alphabets are completely different. And people, there's this misconception that sign language is a universal language. Right. It's not even universal in this frickin' country.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like down in the south, there are signs that, they wouldn't use, say, up north. And, it's like...
Can you imagine, like, can you imagine that, like, some of these deaf people get together and they're trying to have a conversation, and then they're signing out like, I don't understand your accent,
It's just like...
Yeah.
But it's like, what I didn't realize is before there are like 5 signs for green.
Okay.
And I was just like, why are there 5 signs for just one word? And my teacher was just like, oh, it's just there are. They just are.
There's different types of
like,
greens.
okay.
I mean,
No, it's just green. I can't remember what they are now. It's like, I know that the one we use is green, like green for grass and things like that. But yeah, I was just like, I don't understand why there are so many words for green.
that's crazy. That's so wild.
Yeah, but it's although it is a good way to get out of talking to people I don't want to talk to. It's like those people in the street are just like, and then just kind of walk off. Although what does get annoying is because I do wear a hearing aid. People, and it's so small. It's very small. Most people don't even realize I'm wearing it. And because most hearing aids, it's like we have NHS hearing aids, like National Health hearing aids, and they're quite big, so you can clearly see them. Whereas mine is a private hearing aid. I actually paid for mine, whereas the ones on the NHS are free. But it's a mini, so it's very small. And people suddenly realize that they'll see it, and they'll realize I've got hearing issues, that my ears don't work properly, and then they'll start to talk like that, and their lips will start to move, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's so obnoxious. Like, oh my god.
Just like, wait, what are you doing? Just like, no, just speak normally. We were having a perfectly fine conversation before. Just because you've seen the hearing aid doesn't mean you have to start to talk like that, you moron.
Can you tell me where to find a paper? Like, fuck off, dude.
But no, it's like, for some reason people have the idea that if they start to speak slower and kind of accentuate their lips, that it's easier to understand them. It's actually harder. Because a lot of deaf and hard of hearing people will lip read. Not all of them, but most of them will lip read. It's like I do. I lip read.
You get kind of used to it after.
Yeah, and it's like if people don't know me, and I'm talking to them, they'll kind of at first they'll be just like, "What the fuck is she watching my lips? Have I got something in my teeth or whatever?" It's like, no, sorry, I have hearing problems. I'm actually, it's habit to lip read.
Right.
I actually taught myself how to lip read as a toddler, so it's something I've always done. And even though I've got a hearing aid and all that, it's not a habit that I can break. It's not one I want to break either.
Right. It's something that you need to stay in practice for, especially if the hearing is going even further.
Yeah. But I've got the kiddo. He does like kids sign and all of that, and he thinks it's brilliant. He has great fun with it.
That's cool. I'm really jealous of my dad because I'm jealous of my dad because my dad's losing his hearing. Well, I'm jealous because he.
That's not one I've not heard before.
I know, but it's because of what he got. He got this as a deal through like the VA, and what he got were these 2 hearing aids. They're Bluetooth. So not only are they regular hearing aids, but they also have Bluetooth capability that go to a really nice fashionable necklace that he wears that has a microphone and a stronger Bluetooth transmitter that hooks up to his phone. So not only can he hear normally, but he can put music on in his hearing aids, or he can even crank them up if it's really quiet and he's trying to hear something far away. He can get like super hearing.
Yeah, mine has the same capability. Yeah.
That's amazing. I want that.
Yeah, it's like because obviously I do work kind of in a call center, but it's not just like, it's weird because it's a call center, but we do more than just answer the phones, if that makes sense. Sure. We actually work with kind of people's utility accounts and stuff, and I'm getting all new equipment because of my ears. It's like I'm getting a new headset. I'm actually getting like microphones and transmitters and stuff, which will hook up to my phone.
That's awesome. God damn.
But they will also hook up to my hearing aid as well. And while I've only got one at the moment, I actually, between October 2016 and October 2017, lost 19 decibels in my right ear.
Oof.
And anything over 15, they have to report to my GP.
Right.
For them to kind of do referral as needs be. I mean, they put in a referral to the ENT, the ear, nose, and throat, back in October, and yeah, I haven't heard anything back. That's kind of how it goes over here with ENT. It takes months to get an appointment.
Won't it be incredible when we could just like get this shit implanted?
Yeah. But it's like, you know, they've suggested like surgeries and stuff to restore the hearing in my left ear, and I'm just like, no, it's surgery that screwed up my ear in the first place. No. Unless it's got 100% surety that it will work, the answer is no.
Well, the ear is so sensitive, you know. I'm really not surprised. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one bad ear infection, and this ear is probably fucked for the rest of my life. You know, just
yeah. Well, it all started when I was about 18, 19 months old. I got glue ear, and nobody realised. Nobody realised that it had actually kind of that I'd lost the hearing, because I'd learned to lip read.
Right.
And it wasn't until my mum actually figured out that I was lip reading that she took me down the doctors, and obviously they cleared out the wax and everything that build up, and they're just like, there's nothing there. It's like she's not got any hearing at all. But they couldn't actually do anything about it because of my age. They won't operate on children's ears until they're 5. At least they wouldn't back then. I don't know if they do now. Thankfully, you know, touch wood, kiddos has been absolutely fine.
That's good.
That's one thing I've always been paranoid about, is his ears. That's one thing I've always been paranoid about, is his ears, because I grew up with just constant ear infections, and my mum knew that if I said, "Mummy, my ear hurts," it was time to go to the doctor.
Right.
Because I would have a full-blown infection.
I got ear infections a lot too as a kid, but the drops seem to clear them up relatively quickly.
But it's like, now I have no eardrum in my left ear because of 2 botched surgeries. Because I had grommets and I had T-tubes as well, to try and restore the hearing in that ear. And grommets are supposed to fall out. They're supposed to come out. That's what they're meant to do. T-tubes are not.
Right.
And they did. They left a small hole. They went in to fix it, made the hole bigger. Somehow they managed, somehow 3 years later, they managed to convince me to let them try again. And I now have no eardrum and inner ear nerve damage.
Oh my God.
So, yes. Yeah. So I am now left with 5% hearing in my left ear. Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's a lot of fun.
I'm just imagining, because like, you know, this ear infection that I had really gave me a perspective on exactly how painful it can be. The idea of having surgery on my eardrum, it makes me feel so cringe.
It's like what they had to do. It's called a laryngoplasty. So what they would do is they cut up kind of into my hairline, take a small bit of skin, and then just kind of over the eardrum. So it would kind of, with any luck, kind of help it to start actually regrowing. Because apparently they do that. Apparently. I don't know.
Crazy.
And it would actually fix itself. And I think they do it kind of when you are still growing. So obviously the eardrum will kind of try and fix itself.
Right.
But yeah, that didn't work. And I had to spend 2 weeks where I was not allowed to wash my hair. And as a teenage girl, that was the worst thing for me. That was yeah. But it's like, I can't go swimming now. I'm not allowed to go swimming because I've not actually found a earplug that will stop any water from going in.
Right.
And to get them get molds and that made is so expensive. Like actual ones that completely stop water from getting in. I've got to be careful in the shower because if I get any water in there, I just get an infection straight away because I've got no protection. So
oh god, that's terrible.
it's like I had one a couple of weeks ago, and I've not had an infection hit me like that for a long time. It literally just kind of knocked me on my ass.
Mm-hmm.
Not had one kind of hit me like that for a long time. It was kind of kind of like the infections I used to get when I was a kid.
No. You get that, but at least you have that sense of nostalgia.
I'm just like, yeah, well, that's the kind of sense of nostalgia I can do without. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy without that. But no, it's just, and people, they kind of sit there and it's like, I don't know how you cope with it. I'm just like, well, what else am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
You know, it's
okay, well, that's a good point. I guess I'll just not have ear infections anymore. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Yeah. But it's like with the, it's just like, but it's like, see, because people at work know that I have hearing issues.
Sure.
They know that I can't hear them, and it's usually like the lower tones, like men's voices, that I can't hear. And there's a couple in my team who have really deep voices, and I can't. They're trying to sit there and talk to me, and I'm just like, and because it just doesn't register, and they'll just be like, "Oh, you're like what?" And they're like, I've been talking to you for like this 10 minutes. I'm just like, did you actually get my attention? Did you make sure I could actually hear you first? And they're like, no, I forgot. And so they all know, and they're just like, I don't know how you cope with kind of, knowing that you're going to lose your hearing. I'm just like, what else am I supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
It's something I've known that it's going for, since I was about 19.
Right.
So it's just something I've got used to.
Just make peace with it and go along with it. Yeah. There was only one thing
I could do to stop it.
There's only one thing that was worse than the ear infection that I had recently, because that put me on my ass too. It was just the worst. Was a abscessed wisdom tooth. That was I almost died because I almost crashed my car.
Oh no.
Yeah. No, I was trying to get to the doctor because it was like in crisis mode. But for some reason I've never dated a woman who could drive. I never have. It's never happened. None of them drive. They never drive. Mems doesn't drive. Like nobody else drives, just me. And so I had to drive myself to the hospital. Thankfully, my girlfriend was with me in the car, and when it hit and my vision went, like everything went white, and I like slammed forward and was like incapacitated. I took my foot off the gas. That's all I could do. And she like reached over and stomped on the brake and veered us over into somebody's driveway. It was bad.
Yeah. Now, what lesson did we learn from that?
Take a cab.
We don't drive. Yeah. We don't drive with an abscessed wisdom tooth. Well, so I can't because I don't have any wisdom teeth left.
Yeah. Our system for dentistry here in America is totally fucked. Totally fucked. I've slowly but surely been fixing my smile, which makes me very happy because I was extremely self-conscious about it. But yeah.
Well, it's like I had braces as a teenager, and when I had them, they took my number 4s out at the top. But they didn't with the bottom ones. So when my wisdom teeth started coming through, it pushed all of my teeth forward. And for years, I had this tooth that just stuck out there. And every year, it was getting further and further out. So they had to take that one out. And I had braces and that. It was only a couple of years ago. And I had it. £1,600 it cost me for just one set of braces. And it was about 2 months after I had them taken off that the dentist realised that my wisdom teeth were actually growing backwards into my jaw. So they had to come out.
Oof.
So they had those taken out. So I had all 4 taken out. They put me under and that for it. So I had all 4 taken out at the same time. And I was just like, right, well, that was a waste of £1,600.
I still have 1 wisdom tooth left when we're back up here.
All of mine are gone.
I had the top ones for the longest time, and then I started feeling an infection setting into one of them, and I couldn't get I couldn't get an emergency appointment with my dentist.
Yeah.
So I looked around, and there was a free clinic that was happening. That they do pretty often, and over at the fairgrounds. So I go down there, a huge open warehouse, and it's just dental all over the fucking place, and it's all homeless people because that's the only
Yeah.
place they can get their teeth fixed because they have no money or insurance. And so I sat down, and this guy comes over and checks it, numbs me up, rips it out. But something felt really wrong when he did it, and it felt like he had done something wrong, and I was like, oh fuck, okay, I don't know, maybe it's okay, maybe it's not. So I went home, it healed up, but it never stopped hurting for like a month. It just kept hurting and hurting and hurting. And eventually I got my appointment with my regular dentist, and he went in and he looked, and sure enough, it turned out that the dude had pulled it wrong and not cleaned it, so an infection got inside the gum and had killed the tooth next to it. So
oh no.
Yeah, the only non-wisdom tooth that I had to lose was one of my back molars up here. I hate it.
Yeah, I've had 7 teeth taken out. So I had the one at the front, my number 4's at the top, and my 4 wisdom teeth. But they took all 4 out because if they'd left the top ones in, they said that the way it would have come down, because the way my jaw is set, it would have continuously hit the back of my gum where the tooth used to be. So it would have caused like real damage to my bottom gum. So they were just like, yeah, we've got to take all 4 of them out. It only took them half an hour, at least. Well,
that's not bad.
No, at most. Because they obviously put me under for it. When I went in for the anaesthetic, it was 1 o'clock. No, it took about 40 minutes or so. It was about 10 to 1 when I went in, and I woke up in recovery about 1:30.
Well, so they put you under.
Yeah, because they took all 4 out.
Yeah, they won't put you under here. No way.
Nope. I'm kind of glad I live here then.
Yeah. No. Oh man, and it's brutal. I had one of the wisdom teeth that was taken out. I think it was this one in the bottom. He yanked it. He did a great job. But he yanked it, and he was like, "Wow, I got to show this to you." And he showed it to me, and like the roots had grown together and had actually pinched. And when he pulled, there was a chunk about that big of my jawbone trapped in it. Yeah.
No. No, I think if it's just 1 or 2 they're taking out, they will do it kind of the dentist. But because I think it's also because they had to cut my gum as well, because of the way the bottom ones were growing. They were actually growing backwards into my jawline, into my jaw. So because it wasn't just kind of grab and pull, they had to actually cut into the gum. Yeah. I had to actually go into the hospital for it. But yeah, I woke up in recovery, at 1:30. Oh my tongue feeling like it was like that big.
Oof.
It's gnarly. The most annoying thing for me though was I had to take my tongue bar out, and I was just like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
But I obviously had to. But
that's actually why I took mine out, and I just never got around to putting it back in, was because of dentistry. Yeah.
No, but yeah, as soon as I could, I was like, I hit that back here. It's like still dazed from the anaesthetic. I was just
like, I actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, my friend came to pick me up, and she was like, "What the hell are you doing?" I was like, and she was like, "Oh, okay." She's like,
I just realized I don't have any left in anymore. They're all gone. I took them all out.
Oh.
No. Kind of bothers me a little bit.
Yeah, a friend of mine she went to Comic-Con in London for her birthday over the weekend. She got her nose pierced. She was just like, just got my nose pierced and my first tattoo. I was just like, you're supposed to go to a comic book convention.
Well,
she's like, we did. And she had a nostril and that done. She was just like, I was like, so how much did that hurt you? She was like, oh my God, it fucking kills. But, it's like when I got that done, people always assume that it's the septum that hurts the most. And I'm just like, no.
No, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all.
No, it's just like pinch and that's it. It's done.
Yeah.
And
done.
Yeah. It's like, and it's done. I'm just like, oh, okay. Is that it? Because I think when it comes to piercings, you psych yourself out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And so it's like, I was just like, oh, okay, that's it, that's done. All right then. But no, that made my eyes stream. So it would not stop watering for about 10 minutes when I had
when you had your nostril. Oh yeah.
Yeah, when I had my nostril done. Yeah.
It's kind of it's a little shocking. It is a little shocking when you get the nostril.
I was just like, ah.
Well, the majority of the nerve clusters in the nose are like right at the tip, like right there. And there's a lot more than most people take. They take it for granted how incredibly sensitive that can actually be. I saw a demonstration of this one night at a piercing party. It was just like the piercing shop was. They'd throw like you know what play needles are.
Yeah.
Yeah, really thin needles, and they put them through, and they take pictures and things like that. But this the piercist was like, yeah, so it was a demonstration of how sensitive the tip of your nose is. And there's this friend of mine sitting there. He takes one of those play needles and he goes right from under, right out the tip of the nose with it. And I have never, and I've seen that dude get some gnarly piercings and not even flinch. And he's like, oh! The most ungodly noise I'd ever heard in my life. It was just so terrible.
But it's like, I absolutely hate needles. I hate needles. And people are like, really? I'm just like, I absolutely hate needles. It's like I can watch myself like being tattooed. I can't watch them set up the machine. I can't watch them set up the machine. It's like while they're setting it up, I'm just like, you know, oh, this is nice. Is that new artwork?
That's fair.
Is that new on the wall? But it's like, you know, it's like when he was doing the poppies and that on my arm, I was like, ooh, just sat there watching him.
That is a really awesome tattoo, by the way. That's great.
It's eventually it will become a full sleeve. It's always been the aim to kind of go all the way down and kind of across onto my chest as well. The only problem I have is that I don't have any money.
Yeah.
It's about 800 quid or so on my arm right now.
I have a lot of tattoos I really need to cover up. So.
But one of my favorites is Jessica.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, although people have called her Betty Boop.
What? How?
I don't know. Oh, it's Betty Boop in it. I'm just like, don't make me hit you. It's like, no, it's Jessica Rabbit. No, just like, don't make me hurt you. I'm sorry. Although my sister does like to point out that if I stretch up and kind of go like that, I've got boobs on my face.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, she's like, you got boobs on your face. I'm like, very funny.
I used to be pretty phobic of needles as well. I don't think I'd say that I like them. You know, like at that piercing party, for instance, you know, like they were like, "Hey, it's your turn." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm good. No, I'm fine." But then, and this is are you amused by like kind of gross stuff? Because I am.
Depends on what kind of gross stuff. If that makes any sense.
Pus.
It's like, have you ever heard? Well, no, I'm not really fond of pus.
No, I'm not really fond of it either. But it's interesting.
But it's like I've seen a guy lift up a like, say it's like a barrel, like a metal barrel with his ears.
Oh,
have you ever heard of Johnny Strange?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've met him.
Oh,
I've
cool.
met him. And you know, I've actually seen kind of what he does and that. He lifts one up with his nose, and I'm just like, how the fuck have you not pulled that thing off your face yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, I've seen people do that kind of stuff with their dicks. That's
and he's the nicest guy. He's such a sweetheart.
They usually are.
I met him. Yeah, I met him at a convention. It was a couple of years ago. He's an absolute sweetheart. He looks absolutely insane, but he's such a lovely guy. And I was just like,
the one that the notable one is the Enigma, the guy who's got puzzle pieces tattooed all over his body.
Yeah,
he's on the X-Files.
Yeah.
I know him. I'm friends with him. He's actually like stayed at my house before when he was in town doing like his freak show performances and things like that. He's a really cool guy too.
Yeah, they are. Sometimes they're just like the sweetest people, and it's they look weird, but
Oh yeah.
I'd rather spend time with them than pretty much anybody else.
When he tattooed his eyeballs was a little crazy because I
Yeah, that's
hadn't
weird.
seen him for a while, and then he shows up in town and his eyes are completely black. I'm like,
You're like, huh?
wow.
Yeah, that freaks me out. That would freak me out.
Yeah, that party at the time I'd had this thing on my face like right about here because I could still feel the scar, but I had this
Yeah.
bump and I didn't know what it was. Just this big bump. And you know, they were like, "Yeah, you were gonna put needles in you," and I'm like, "No, no, 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 no." And then the piercings guy, he pokes at it. He's like, "What the hell's that?" I'm like, "I don't know. I've had it for years, but it just won't go away." And he's like, "Well, you should let me throw a couple needles through that." I'm like, all right, fine, all right, you know, whatever. And so he did, and he started squeezing, and a lot of stuff came out of it, like a lot. It had apparently underneath the skin gone all the way up to my orbit around to there. Was
Ooh.
how like far it had traveled, even though it was mostly congealed right
Yeah,
there.
it's like you just had like the bump there, but it spread
Oh, it's
all
a big,
over.
it was a big bump too.
Oh,
It was very noticeable. You could see it. And what
yeah.
was crazy though is I had chronic headaches, like 2 headaches a week, sometimes more, for years. And once he did that, all those chronic headaches went totally away, like gone. And that's what it
Oh,
was. It was just pressure on like some of my blood vessels. So
yeah.
it's
So you
crazy.
didn't need to go to a doctor or anything at all. You just need to go to a piercer.
Yeah, and have him squeeze my face and shoot weird pus all over the place. Yeah.
Could be worse. Could still be having migraines.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Yeah.
He's a piercer who moonlights as a doctor, obviously.
Right.
Obviously.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. He loved it. Everybody else in the shop was really grossed out.
I think I would be as well. But,
So weird.
No. But no, I don't like needles. But it's like, I mean, I have to go for a blood test every 3 to 6 months anyway.
Mhm.
And so does my mum. It's like while I'm sat there kind of going like that and, you know, looking at everything else, but my mum sit there and watch them do it. And I'm just like, you freak.
Yeah.
It's like, you weirdo. And she was just like, what? It's interesting.
I can kind of observe, but I tend to look away, you know.
Yeah. No,
Like,
I
I'm
can't
used
do
to
it.
it enough that I don't freak out, but I'm just still like, no.
Yeah. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. And it's like once they kind of put the cotton wool on and it's kind of like, right, okay, you know, pressure on, then I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
But anything before that, no. No, I can't do it.
Yeah. I had, oh my God.
No.
I had I got this splinter, but it was more than just a splinter. It was like a legit stab of wood. And it went in you guys do centimeters, so I'd say probably like 3 centimeters of wood was in my hand, like
Ooh.
in the meat of near my thumb. And it was incredibly painful, and it was I couldn't get it out because it had gone down so far, and so I had to go in to get it taken out. And the doctor, I don't even know if it was a doctor or nurse, but whoever they were, they really knew at their job, and they started sticking me with a very thin needle for local anesthetic before they could try and like dig it out.
Yeah.
And so they start skewering me, and I'm watching. Because at that point, my adrenaline is so high, I'm really not freaked out as much by it anymore because it hurt really bad. But I'm watching this guy. He actually at two times while skewering me, I saw the needle go into the meat of my hand and out to the other side, and then spray. Yeah.
Oh no!
Like he's fully puncturing through my hand and squirting, and like there's anesthetic shooting like onto the floor, and I'm like,
and you're just like, what?
Bro.
It's like, will you stop for a second? It's not supposed to go all the way through. So I remember because I have, I'm actually allergic to beta carotene. So anything that has it in it. So I take a daily kind of prescription antihistamine.
Mm-hmm.
Just so if I come into contact with like trace amounts, then it doesn't kind of affect me. But it's like anything like, say, obviously carrots, red, orange, yellow peppers, things like that. And apparently orange peel has it in it as well.
Oh yeah.
The actual segments of orange are absolutely fine. They don't have it in it. But I found out that a brand of orange juice over here is not just orange juice, it's everything. So literally just pulverize it all. And I had a small kind of travel carton of it, and ended up in hospital about 20 minutes later. Oof. And I really don't like needles. I've never liked needles. Now they had to set me up on an IV, on a drip, and they put the needle into my arm, missed, and tried to work it into my vein while the needle was still in my arm. And I literally, and my mum turned up and she was just like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he was obviously kind of new at his job. And so they wanted to try on the other arm, and they had to actually hold me down. You know, I'd had an EpiPen and all of that, because I go full like anaphylaxis when I have like full-blown beta carotene. And they had to actually hold me down to get this needle in my arm. But for about 6 to 8 weeks afterwards, I had an absolutely enormous bruise going all the way around my arm there. And I remember it, but I don't, if that makes sense. Sure. It's just kind of like a bit kind of disjointed. And I was just like, I remember kind of seeing it for the first time. I was like, "What the fuck is that?" She was just like, "Yeah, that's, yeah." My mum was just like, "Don't ask, don't ask." But and that was painful, because especially it was on the inner elbow and all that. It's like I couldn't move my arm properly. I had to actually have my arm in a tight wrap, so I couldn't bend it any more than that, because otherwise it would just,
that's awful.
Yeah, needless to say, that didn't help my fear of needles any.
No, I wouldn't imagine it would.
No.
I had a phlebotomist. I must have been like 9 or 10 years old, and I think it was her first day on the job as a phlebotomist, and you know, they needed to take some blood samples, so they take the syringe, and you know, I didn't have anything like that happen. That sounds god awful.
It was not fun.
They got it into the vein, and then they went to go and extract, and they hadn't screwed the needle onto the syringe all the way. So they get it in there, and then it just comes right off, and and I'm starting bleeding like crazy out of this tube sticking out of my arm, and the two ladies there start freaking out, like, "Oh my god!" And they like tried to put it back on, and like they can't figure it out, and they don't know what to do. So me, in my infinite kid wisdom, is I just went, "Dunk. Can we fix this, please?"
It's like, "Can we do something about this, please?" You know, they're freaking out. You're just like, okay, that stopped it. Can we actually, you know, can we fix this, please?
You're the adults. You should not be the ones freaking out right now.
It's like, you're supposed to be kind of trying to keep me calm at this point. But I mean, thankfully, the kid's not actually had to have any kind of blood tests or anything like that done, and hopefully he won't. But so he's not, apart from his jabs and that. When he was a bubba, he's not actually come into contact with needles. So I've been lucky in that regard.
Yeah. It's, oh god, it's so heartbreaking as a parent to see your kid get a jab.
Yeah, it's like when he had them done. See, you know, they had me kind of hold him, and they have kind of literally just like hold his legs together, bang, 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 and he's like screaming, and I'm just like, "Oh, my baby!"
Yeah,
it's like I wanted to kind of run off with him, and I knew that they had more to do. I was just like, I'm sorry. And then he passed out like 2 hours later. He was fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, the same thing happened with me and my kiddo. Like they got them all in a row, and then, you know, I finally got him calmed down, and he was all right pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But then they were like 10 minutes later, they're like, "We need to take a blood sample." I'm like, "No, you don't. No, you're not doing. No, no,
No.
no more today. No,
No.
next time
So-
maybe.
I'll bring him back in, but not right now. He's been traumatized enough. But
Yeah. Like if you did it like at the same time that you did all of that, all at once, real quick, sure, fine, that's fine.
would have been fine, because it would have been all kind of mixed up into that, rather than having that trauma, finally getting him calm, and then having to go through it all again because you want
Right.
to take a blood sample.
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
No. But I always remember my mum telling me when I had the polio vaccine, apparently I refused the sugar cube that they gave you. I said I didn't want the sugar cube. I completely refused it. I was just like, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. And then I was just like, my mum was just like, what's your own fault? You can have the sugar cube. No. Like, I'd obviously made that decision and I was sticking with it.
That's wild.
But it's like, yeah, it's like obviously, you know, get jabs and that as you get older. But other than that, although when he gets the tiniest little splinter in his foot, my God, you'd think that someone was trying to murder him.
Mm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. I don't know.
especially,
My kid's got some tough ass feet. They're practically like golf like baseball glove leather on his feet now because he always runs around barefoot. So
yeah, well, mine are the same, because obviously I grew up obviously out on a farm, but we've always lived in a town,
yeah.
and it's not safe to let him run around outside without any shoes on.
No.
No. So he's got quite soft feet, but he had a splinter, and I kid you not, it was literally like that big.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that
Super
big.
tiny.
Yes, yeah, it's super tiny. I was just like, where the hell is it? Literally in his heel. And my God, you would think that someone had stabbed him. I was just like, and he was sat there and he was shaking his foot, and I'm just like, you want me to get this thing out? Stop moving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But it
I'm
needs
just
to
like,
be out now.
yes, I need to get it out. And he's like sobbing and all of that. I managed to get it out, and 5 minutes later, it was fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When I was in elementary school, I had a tendency to pick up a lot of splinters because for some reason I don't know why this is. Maybe it's different in the UK, but in American schools for a really long time, what they would put down for the playground was wood chips.
Some of them do have them, yeah.
That's the dumbest idea in the world. That's stupid. Why wood chips? I guess it can kind of cushion a fall, maybe, or something. I don't know. And definitely don't have to worry about weeds, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
But I get splinters all the time, and I never really had any luck with tweezers or anything like that. So I would always find safety pins, and I got in trouble many times in school because I'd sit there with a safety pin, like digging into the meat of my hand, like bleeding like crazy. I got it.
They'd be like, "What?" That's right. I remember once. I don't even know how or why, and I think I still actually got a slight mark on my thumb. I managed to staple my thumb.
Mm-hmm.
I was in secondary school, which I guess would be like with us, it's like majority of the time it's primary school and then secondary school, but you do get it like first primary and then secondary. Secondary school is like from 11 to 16. I think it's 18 now, actually. But yeah, I was in secondary school. I was 15, and I was really bored. And I just decided it'd be a good idea to play with a stapler. And next thing I know, there was a staple in the joint of my thumb. I was like, "Huh, okay."
That's an interesting sensation.
I was just like, how'd that happen? And then I just kind of went. My best friend was sat next to me. She was like, because it's like it wasn't in that far. It was like kind of stuck out, and I was just like, dunk. Okay. And then it didn't stop bleeding. I was just like, yeah, I think I need to go to the nurse now. I was just like, I need to go and get a plaster or something. And they were like, what did you do? I was just like, I don't know. I wasn't going to admit to stapling myself.
It's a random explosion in my thumb. Now I have a giant hole.
I was just, well, no, I had two because I got both of them. It was like I've been bitten by a very, very tiny vampire.
That's right.
They just kind of like, what did you do? I was just like, I managed to get a staple in my thumb. I was like 14, 15 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just gave me a plaster. It's kind of just like, you're an idiot. So, yeah, I know. I was bored. What'd you expect?
I don't know. It took me a long time to learn not to play with like tools and office supplies and things like that. Even all the way up into adulthood.
I still do.
Yeah, I do too, but I'm more careful, I think, than I used to be. Like I almost sliced off my whole knuckle with a box knife. I got a really cool scar on there, but it was like half the knuckle, like all the skin open in a big flap. And my and it was at a job too, and I showed the boss, and he's like, "Well, what do you need to like use a first aid kit or something like that?" All derisive, like, "What, you want to stop working to do this?" I'm like, yeah.
Well, kinda. Yeah. I can see the inside of my finger. I'm not supposed to be able to see that.
Yeah, you can see like little bits of the fatty deposits like on the other sides and shit, and you can see the top of the knuckle bone. You know, like you can see the bone.
Yeah.
And he was like talking like I was gonna have to keep working. I'm like, well, I don't know. This might count as like a workplace hazard. You know, this might count as an administrative screw up. Just saying. I'm like, okay, then you need to go home and go get stitches or something. Like, okay, cool. I got off work.
Yeah, fair enough. But no, I haven't done that. My sister nearly chopped her finger off once. I think she was about 3. This is before Dad left, and she decided she wanted an apple, so to cut it up for her, and because he was self-employed, he used to work from home, and he was like, yeah, okay, just give me a minute and I'll come in and I'll cut it up for you. And yeah, she didn't wait, so she went. We still have, to this day, have no idea how she managed to get it, but she managed to get my mum's biggest carving knife to try and cut up this apple. And the next thing we know, she's got this giant cut going literally down there across her knuckle.
Oh.
And she's just standing there. She's not crying or anything like that. She's just standing there bleeding all over the kitchen floor. And I was just like, Dad! And he's like, what? And he was absolutely useless. He literally grabbed it. He grabbed some kitchen roll and wrapped up her finger. My mum comes in, thankfully came in like a minute later, grabbed the first aid kit underneath the sink and kind of wrapped it and went dunk and all that, and then took her to the hospital. She had a nice row of stitches there. She's still got the nice big scar going across her finger. And my mum's always making a joke, so I'm going to will her that that knife.
The carving knife, yeah, that's great.
I'm going to leave it to her in her will. And but no, my sister was an absolute nightmare when she was little. She managed to set the house on fire.
Well, that's good. Just like how bad?
She was
how
4.
bad did she? What did she do?
It was an old TV, because it's like, when you tell a little person not to do something, they will go and do it
Immediately.
So immediately, because at that point it was kind of like where we lived, it was like bungalow with the loft, and my older brothers lived up in the loft, and we'd always known that we don't go up there when my brothers aren't up there. So what does she do? She goes up there and she starts playing with the TV. It's an old TV, and she sits there and pressing the on and off button, and the thing sparks and hits the mattress up there.
Oh.
Yeah. And next thing my mum knows is my sister's made it down the stairs. She just goes, "Mummy, hot," and points up. And my mum's just like, "What?" And so she she could smell something burning. So she stuck her head upstairs. The entire mattress was in flames, and she was just like, there is no way I'm going to be able to get this under control. So she grabbed my sister, grabbed my brother, who was, just a couple of months old. Cats outside, dogs outside. Right, okay. Kids outside. I was at school at this point. And thankfully the phone was by the back door. So she called, 999. And she was like, my house is on fire. They came. And she'd managed to call my dad and that as well, saying, the house is on fire, you need to come home. And our next door neighbor had seen it, and he basically, said, get over to my house, we'll sort it out. And they managed to get it out before the fire engines and that actually appeared. Everything upstairs was completely destroyed.
Right.
Everything that my brothers owned was completely destroyed.
Wow.
And she was 4. She was 4. So she managed to nearly chop her finger off at 3, and she nearly destroyed the house when she was 4.
Excellent.
But it did mean life goals. But it did mean that we could actually, with the insurance and that, we could have the loft converted into actual bedrooms, because that had been the plan all along. And my mum had actually worked it out, so they extended it upwards by about 3 feet as well.
Nice. Hey.
So yeah, she had about 3 feet added onto the height, and had 2 bedrooms and that made upstairs with a landing and that as well. So it wasn't all bad, but would have much rather preferred not to have the house on fire.
Yeah.
But like, the insurance guy came around the next day, and he's got a picture that he gave to my mum of my sister, because they take photos and that for the insurance and everything. He's got a picture of my sister sat in a lovely, nice little, pretty kind of flowery dress, surrounded by carnage. Just complete carnage. And at that age, she was dark brown ringlets, huge eyes, butter wouldn't melt. Look what I did. It's like picture of innocence, and it's just it's like, this is my sister, just in a photo. This is my sister.
That's incredible. I love it.
Yeah,
man. All right.
So
well,
who else can say that they set the house on fire at 4?
Yeah, for sure. And can you imagine, like, I don't know if she's married yet, but like, if I had a picture of myself like that and I was getting married or any like big event, I would insist that was like the photo that they used,
Oh yeah. I mean, that's on the mantelpiece.
Yeah.
That one's on the mantelpiece. It's like there's several photos of kind of each of us, one of which is me at 2 standing in a bucket.
Hey.
Apparently, it was a good idea at that point to stand in a bucket. She's also got a picture of my younger sister at the same age with the same bucket on her head. So it's a popular bucket until the penny put her foot through it. But yeah, no, that picture is one that is on the mantelpiece. So that's pride in place, kind of up there above the fireplace.
Wow.
Ironically enough.
That's so wild. Oh man. All right. Well, hey guys. So we're gonna go ahead and go offline. Probably keep talking a little bit longer. But for everybody who's watching it there live, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. And anybody watching in the future, hello, goodbye. It's over.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.